back to Tippy Top with a few good friends. I'm one of your good friends. It's me, Simon.
I'm Amon.
I'm Dana.
We're all here. We're all sitting at a table together, and we love each other very much. And we're not tired, and it's been a great day.
We're so full of energy
and
right now.
everything's going good, and we're so happy to be here. And you know why?
Why?
You know why?
Why?
Today is National Gratitude Day, which I was a little confused because you'd think that'd be Thanksgiving,
Right.
You know, because the holiday that is
Well, but
the
also-
thing that is what you would do for that.
But also Thanksgiving was built on like
Thanksgiving is a terrible holiday.
Yeah,
it was built
right.
on like death and stuff.
Built on the dead bodies of Native Americans.
Yeah, basically. And
Hilarious.
Yeah, right? Yeah, gratitude. Yay.
So I guess that's why we decided to have another national holiday called Gratitude Day, where we can have a day and be grateful for things and not bring to mind all of our ancestors' past mistakes.
Yes.
Though I will say, my dad's from London, so
That's fair.
they did some bad stuff too. Anyway,
But then we did some bad stuff back to them.
yeah, it was
After
a
we did
mess.
the bad stuff.
It was a mess there for a while. Still is
Still
pretty messy.
kind
I mean, it's not
still kinda
perfect
messy.
now. Yeah.
I mean,
let's
it's
make
less
sure.
bloody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
less smallpox blankets.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely.
Less chemical warfare-y, yeah. It's in
Yeah.
the Geneva Convention,
Stupid.
at least. I was even
Anyway.
talking to Amon today a little bit when we were walking down the hall. I was like, sometimes you just gotta like sit back and be thankful for that. And that was even before I knew it was World Gratitude Day.
You
But
did say that.
we are, very privileged to live in the nation that we live in and the society that we do and have all the things that we have and be blessed in all the many ways that we are blessed. And so on this most auspicious occasion of World Gratitude Day, I, Simon Lyons, am putting my gratitude into the universe and saying thank you for all the good stuff that happens and is adjacent to me now.
Wait, are you thanking the
Jason?
universe?
I said I'm putting my gratitude in. I'm just putting it out there.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever play Skyward Sword?
Of course I did, Dana.
Of course
Okay.
I didn't. I don't know what you're talking
I know
about.
it's a Zelda game. I figured that's why I asked Simon and not you because I knew that you wouldn't have
It's cool.
played
It's
it.
whatever. I'm just at the end of the table.
Yeah, no problem.
No worries.
Let's just scoot a little bit this way,
Yeah.
Simon. There wasn't there like a thing that you could get gratitude crystals from people for doing good deeds? Like you found someone's cat and it was like, oh my God, thank you. Here, have this gratitude crystal.
I wish I got gratitude crystals. I would exchange those for money, like for sure.
Oh yeah, it'd probably
Or
be like
take
a
those
really
in
high
place of-
rate.
Yeah. If I could just get, if you just had like a palpable sort of understanding of when someone actually was grateful that you did a thing and
Right.
weren't just being nice to you, like, oh,
Because-
here's a currency I can give you that appreciates how much you went to the supermarket for me and got that thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't depreciate.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's doing a
He's
silent
frozen.
face.
He's frozen. He's
Freeze
frozen.
phrase.
Stop it. This is an audio medium. Nobody can see
Not
you.
helpful.
I hate you. Stop.
You guys are talking about your game.
No, we're talking about gratitude crystals and how it's the new
You're
currency.
part of the game. Gratitude's giving. Was that
Yeah.
what today is?
Yes,
Instead of
Yes.
gratitude.
Instead of Thanksgiving.
Gratitude's giving.
That
rolls off the tongue.
Giving.
That's
Gratitude Day.
It's not anything.
Gratitude's Eve.
So
Okay.
I thought for gratitude Thanksgiving,
Gratitude miss.
Gratitude.
Gratitude miss.
I was gonna say gratitude.
for gratitude,
Gratitude.
I thought we could do our top list of our greatest sort of influences. Like
What?
Wait,
What?
what?
Like people or
Anything. Like what is sort of like things that you appreciate that have sort of like shaped your worldview or shaped your experience or shaped you as a person.
Okay.
Right? So it's not just people, it's everything, So one, I'll start, give y'all time.
Good, because you just like
You asked for
Here's
this.
this.
No, I know, but it's
bomb.
always like I was like, okay, maybe it's like movies or something.
Yeah,
and you're like
some
gratitude,
like,
and I'm like, okay,
trivial,
hold on
and
now.
then you're like, all right, it's not just what you're grateful for. Give me what defines you
Which
in
is fine.
something else. right now. Go.
Well,
It's great. I just need to.
Let me give you a really bad example.
Well,
So when
Okay.
I was a young boy, I was
Adorable.
a chunky little nerd, right? I really, I'm just gonna say Toonami. Toonami.
you know,
I am very, it influenced me in a lot of ways, right? Because that was like my first sort of exposure to anime, and that was my first exposure to any of that kind of like stuff. It was just always just like cartoons, but when I saw anime for the first time, I was like, whoa. Like
This is different.
This is different and it's awesome. And I was like, where does this come from? And it's like, oh, then I started learning more about Japan and like the culture over there. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm really drawn to this. And this has like a significant impact on me. And man, this place would be really cool to visit. And then like, that develops in me for 20 plus years, and then finally I get to go visit Japan, and it's like one of the greatest experiences of my life, you know what I mean? And it's like this crazy wellspring of emotion when I'm there, and just like finally realizing this dream that you have since you were a child, But I mean, it's sort of weird to think about. So it's like Toonami is like sort of a placeholder for just like that sort of nerd culture and like that sort of like atypical culture, that back in the early 2000s and stuff really sort of like made me feel at home in myself, right? Because like my brother was like super into sports and he played music and all that sort of stuff, and I just liked to read books and stay in my room mostly and just like play games, and it really gave me like a sense of like, man, this is like cool, and there's a part of this that means a lot to other people and not just me, so that sort of like sparked a whole thing in me. So that's the first on my list.
What was the first anime that you saw?
Probably Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like, I remember back then there was
Was like Fooly Cooly on?
Fooly Cooly was on. It was like Fooly Cooly, Dragon Ball Z. There was Inuyasha. There was
Oh my God.
Bleach on at that point?
No, Bleach came a little bit later. There's Yu Yu Hakusho and
Samurai Champloo.
Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing.
Yeah, I mean Samurai Jack was about that time too.
Well, I said Samurai Champloo.
Oh, Samurai Champloo, yeah.
I haven't heard these names in a very long
I
time.
know.
Yeah, that's Toonami. It's
freaking
like
like-
Toonami.
I
Like, that's
know.
what I think of when I think of Toonami.
Escaflowne and Big O.
Was it just Cartoon Network, or was it Toonami that Code Lyoko was on?
I don't know, for me, because growing up in Detroit, that was on the CBC, the Canadian Broadcast Company.
Yeah, I remember. I don't think that was on Toonami.
Okay, it might have just been Cartoon
think it
Network,
was just
which
Cartoon
still
Network.
like housed Toonami.
Yeah.
I loved
But-
Code Lyoko, and like it was like
It
one of
was
those things where I was
so
like, I
odd.
can't. Nobody can know that I watched this show because like my family would be like, "What are you watching?"
Code Lyoko looked like they just took Android from Dragon Ball Z and then made like a bunch of copies of that character with different hairstyles.
Yeah.
Android like 17.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Mhm.
Sorry. What was Reboot on?
Okay. Reboot. Oh my God.
That wasn't on Toonami.
No. I mean for us. I mean in Arkansas it was like Saturday. That was Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
So
Okay.
like when I would wake up Saturday morning, that would be on whatever.
Like a local.
Yeah,
channel.
crazy local.
Oh, okay.
Was on. It would be that, and man, I don't even freaking know. There was this one show called like Bump in the Night.
Bump in the Night.
It was this claymation thing where they were like these sewer monsters that like lived under this bed.
That sounds
Is that do y'all know?
horrifying.
No. Did you guys ever watch Gargoyles?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, duh. That was like in the
that
same
was
gambit
like-
as like DuckTales.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
Rescue
wasn't
Rangers.
like technically allowed to watch Gargoyles,
Yeah.
as you can imagine.
Yeah, fair.
But I totally like snuck watch it.
Mhm. That's
Gargoyles.
one of those things. It's like this show is not even that good, but now that I can't watch it, I'm definitely going
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
Yeah,
Dare you to try and stop me?
that's fair.
Sorry, we bunny trailed hardcore on that one.
So
That's all right,
Toonami.
yeah.
Toonami. You're thankful for Toonami. I wasn't allowed to watch Gargoyles. Good. Moving on.
Oh gosh, I would along the same gambit of you sort of watching Toonami and then being able to like go to Japan. I didn't get to go anywhere. I haven't gone to New Zealand, but the Lord of the Rings films. So like Peter Jackson and the cast of the Lord of the Rings. It's gonna be so nerdy.
Listen.
But this is a safe space.
This is a safe
Listen, he
space.
already started with two
But-
nominees. He's pretty much laid the playing field down.
It's still like weird, but it's like those films were the first where I watched them and like watched them for more than, oh my gosh, a movie. You know what I mean? Like I like was paying attention to it, like the story, the editing, the sound design, all that stuff, just all of it. And so those are really the movies that got me into like wanting to do post-production stuff on videos or film or whatever. So yeah, it made me, because it came out when I was 10, 11.
Yeah, I think I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I think I was 13 maybe.
So it was like, it was really influential. And I was like, what's this? This is more than, because it was like, I would watch like the behind the scenes stuff on the extended edition DVDs like all the time. And so like seeing how they filmed like the whole thing together, like all of it, all 3 movies together, and did all this stuff. And then there was like the Weta team who did like all the special effects, like the practical effects, I guess, and the special effects. But seeing all that stuff, it really made me interested in
So
film
that was
and
what
stuff.
That's what did it.
That's what did it.
sort
Lord of the Rings.
That's what did it.
That's what did it.
That's
that
awesome.
was
I didn't
the
know that.
very long,
Yeah.
extended straw that broke
And
your
then
back.
but then it got me into like Lord of the Rings, like because I watched the films and was like, this is amazing. And then I read the books, and then that sort of got me into like the high fantasy, like book
yeah.
reading.
Love high fantasy.
Yeah, and so like I started reading a lot more, and then like
Did
a
you
lot more
learn,
with like
like,
dragons.
Elvish.
No, but I do have an Elvish tattoo.
Yeah, that's true.
Man, I will
So-
say I also love those movies, and I could never watch those special. I can't really do this with any movie. I still sort of don't like to do it, but any of like the special feature stuff that are like, oh, shows you behind the scenes, and here are all the green screens, and here are them like, here's Sauron, and
But that
the
was the
Hobbits
thing.
just like getting coffee and joking. Like I can't do that stuff because
It ruins it.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like
Ruins the magic.
still wants
But see,
to believe it's real.
That was the thing with like Lord of the Rings, was there was a lot of practical effects. Like a lot of that stuff they filmed on location, obviously in New Zealand. But when it came to The Hobbit, there was a lot of green screen. I think that was the film where Ian McKellen kind of broke down and was like, because he was surrounded by green screen, and he just like went off on a rant that was like, I didn't do it. I'm not an actor because of this, like, and just like freaked out.
What a
But
hero.
like, yeah, they did like a lot of practical stuff. So, but I get it. I get it. It's like you don't want it to be ruined. Like
I just
it's
want it
not
to be
real.
so bad.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. But yeah, so that got me interested in post production and behind the scenes stuff.
That's cool.
So that's sort of the catalyst in my life. So I'm grateful for the Lord of the Rings.
I couldn't think of like
Jackson.
one that segued off of yours too. So
There's no segues.
well, I
No.
meant like yours was visual, obviously something you watched, something she watched, not something I watched because. To be fair, we didn't watch a lot of TV or movies when we were younger because we weren't. I mean, we
Allowed
couldn't
to.
during the school week, and then like my parents were very much like, well, especially when we were younger, like if we haven't seen it, then you're not allowed to see it, and you know, like a lot of fantasy stuff was off limits because magic and stuff. But okay, trying to intro this, a young Amon is torn between two worlds because he is black but doesn't act quote unquote black because he's not around quote unquote a lot of black people because this is Colorado Springs and this is North Colorado Springs, so there's even like less black families in that area. And so, and plus like I wasn't African American in that sense, like my parents are from Africa, but I don't really fit that like cultural stereotype. One thing that kind of shaped or like very much influenced me and also like kind of introduced me into like a whole another world that kind of shaped what I even listen to now. But in middle school, and this is weird because like it was like, oh, you're black but you listen to this band, and it was like Under Oath is what got me into like hardcore. So yeah, because like at that point I was listening to like I would listen to like rock and like mostly Christian rock just because of parents, but like my cousin gave me my first like CD, which was his version, his copy of Jesus Freak, and he gave it to me, and it was awesome, and I was like so pumped to have it. But like I'd listen to like Christian rock before that, like Cutlass and things like that that were like coming out, but like the OC Supertones and like ska and stuff. But
Wait, there's ska
I still
Christian
love-
groups?
Oh my god.
oh my
Dana.
gosh,
I
the
didn't grow up
OC
in the church.
Supertones, dude.
There's so much like actually pretty good Christian
Really?
ska music. Yes,
Okay.
Christian music really hit its stride with ska.
Yeah, no, seriously though.
So weird. All right.
And like Reliant K and stuff, but Under Oath, like I used to, before I listened to metal, it was like, man, screamo music's like really cool until they start singing. and then like I started listening to Under Oath and I was like, oh, I actually really like this. And then that kind of delved me into the world of hardcore music, which like totally changed, I guess, my own tastes, but also like kind of how I define myself, because then I was like, because there weren't a lot of African Americans that listened to hardcore, and you don't really see like African Americans like in the hardcore scene. Like there's, what is it? Is it Avenged Sevenfold or Killswitch Engage?
Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, Killswitch Engage has an African American lead.
Oh, yeah, you told me
And
about
so like you just don't, it's not really super common. But yeah, I was like, no, I totally rock this, like no pun intended. But it like changed the way like I dressed and like the shows I went to, and like, yeah, I don't know, it was a positive thing, and I'm glad I started listening to them, because at the time like they were really good and really influential in that scene. And I went to Warped Tour and I saw them and a bunch of other bands, and kind of dug deeper than like even like you and your brother like listen to like Norma Jean and stuff like that. But I went like, because like you and Tobes, I know like there's like bands that you guys don't really like to listen to, like there's a specific like channel of hardcore, but I was like very much like, oh, I love them. And like Devil Wears Prada and like Oh Sleeper and
Yeah.
Decipher Down and all those other random bands, Chiodos and like that punk metal scene.
Yeah, that wasn't really. This will piggyback well off yours, but where I grew up, the town of Fort Smith, Arkansas, awful place. There was one saving grace, which was called The Gate, which was a music venue on the very far side of town, so like the sort of seedy, like run down, like old school factory business district that wasn't really working anymore. And it was run by this dude, Bradley. He's very, very nice guy, like very enterprising, like young dude. I mean, it was a garbage can, right? It was basically just like a stack of bricks, cement floors, and like split into two sections. So there was like a hangout area, and then the other section was like the stage and everything like that. But he seriously had like some sort of gift to book the best bands. Like that was like my sort of what influenced my whole music taste and preference, like growing up. Because Tobes was into it, he was playing music, and he was doing like start playing in bands and all that sort of stuff, and I would just be with him the whole time. So I would just be like sitting there at like 12 years old at this point, and going to these freaking like hardcore shows and punk shows, and just like standing in the middle and not really knowing what was happening until I frequented myself enough to understand, like, oh my god, this is freaking awesome, and just like 12-year-old, like, and you're just like moshing and like hardcore dancing and stuff like that, and you're just like, I don't know who I am, but I love it,
dude. Hardcore dancing is lit.
Yes, man. There was this one dude, Brian. He was a ballet dancer, like when he was a kid, but he would hardcore dance. He was like a beautiful hardcore dancer. It was
so weird to hear.
I know, but he was so freaking good. He was in a band called the Handshake Murders, which is I don't think they're around anymore, but they're probably one of the best metal bands, just like period. Because the metal we like sort of that we got into, like Tobes and I, it was more of the stuff like, I don't know, man, like Coalesce and like the Red Chord and stuff like that. That's like, it's a little bit different, but yeah, The Gate was another very influential part of my life growing up. I'm very grateful for that place too, because it really did show me a whole lot about music. It showed me a whole lot about people. as well, and it just like allowed me, like a chunky nerdy kid, like who really had no business like getting himself in there, but like thankfully for my brother, like I was able to, and sort of like break into a new area of life, that it really helped give me experience of life and like meeting people and understanding like points of view and like rounding me out as a person.
I don't know any of those bands because I'm not a hardcore fan.
That's okay.
That's okay. We accept you.
We
As long as
accept
you
you.
guys understand what you're each talking about.
Man, we saw Ludacris play, or Norma Jean played there when they were still Ludacris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
See, you
I
said
saw-
Ludacris, and
She
I
was
was
like,
like,
oh, I know
Ludacris?
who that is.
I know who that
Oh,
is.
never mind.
Never
Not
mind.
that
You then
No,
said
I don't know
Norma
who
Jean,
that
and I
is.
was like, well, never mind.
Norma Jean.
I know who Norma Jean. Well, I know of them.
You know of them.
I don't know. Like, if you put them in a crowd of, I'm sure, at the time, white boys wearing
Skinny
jeans,
See,
I would not be able to
I
pick out.
probably
That's
wouldn't be
Norma
able to
Jean
pick them
there.
out either, but that's just because it's a crowd of white boys in skinny jeans.
Okay, fair. Okay, so if you played me one of their songs, I'd be like, is this...
Me without you?
Who's that? Who's... I don't know. My cousin has a Devil Wears Prada shirt that scared Harper, my niece, when she was younger. And
Nice.
so
It's freaking metal, dude.
that's the only... Whenever you said that, I
super
was
metal.
like, oh yeah, my cousin has that shirt.
It's ultimate metal.
Remember Rammstein?
Du.
Du hast.
Du hast.
They had like that one
Du
song.
hast
I
mich.
hate.
German metal, dude.
I just can't. I can for a lot of things. I can't with that one.
Can't with that one.
You know, actually, like, people who listen to, like, European and German, like, dark metal, like, Rammstein is, like, a bleh band.
Like a joke.
Yeah, it's like a joke. It's like a joke
Yeah.
band.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're just, like, the upfront band that kind of, like, misrepresents, like, an entire genre, like,
Oh, that
like
sucks.
Rise Against.
Oh yeah,
know
no,
who
I
Rise
hate Rise
Against
Against.
is?
No, I don't know these bands.
You
Listen,
probably
I-
would know a Rise Against song if you heard it.
I
Yeah.
listened to
They
like
all sound the same.
music
It's like
from
a template.
2007.
They're like, all right, just a few different lyrics and presto.
and raise it up a key and done. Yeah. Was that your second one?
Yeah, the gate.
Oh, it's my turn.
Tsunami and the gate.
Dana's second one is Rise Against.
No, my second. Yeah. Dang it, they found out. It's my favorite
I mean,
band.
against Rise.
My second thing that I'm grateful for, and this one's going to be kind of like, at first you're going to be like, I'm not going to assume anything, is video games. Stop.
Wait, what are they?
Don't. Do you know what video games are?
What?
It's weird. So, like, you put, like,
Electronic?
yes, there's sometimes, sometimes they come in a
Electronic?
disc.
Question mark?
That's the only thing. Sometimes they come on a disc or a cartridge or, you know, whatever.
Vinyl?
Yes. No, so the reason I'm so grateful for video games is because of a very specific reason that was actually pretty recent. When I was in the UK, there were times where I was very lonely there, in a weird way. Like it was just like my life was, SpongeBob, when you're Squidward, he goes and lives in like that squid complex
yeah,
or whatever.
and it's like all
and he's
Squidwards
just like
in there.
Squidward. Yeah, and it's just like him playing the oboe, him driving the car, him dancing or doing whatever, but his
yeah.
face stays the same and it's just like a routine day. That was me, because he was getting sadder and sadder. And my only saving grace was going home, and then at 10 o'clock at night, when my friends in Texas would get me getting off work at 4 p.m., we would play video games at night. And that was my saving grace. And that's actually how I became really good friends with Amon.
I know, right?
Was via PlayStation Network.
We were like
Over a
acquaintances
headset.
when you
I
were
mean,
here.
that's the truth,
And then
like-
became like super good friends
Yeah.
online.
I mean, that's the weird thing, because even like me and Simon, we would play like D&D before, but like it was really like those times like raiding on Destiny
Yep.
until 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
Yep.
Or it was like 3 a.m. for you guys. It was really like how I connected with all of you guys better, which is weird because I was half a world away. But obviously, it's deeper than that too, because video games. I'm the youngest of 3, and my brother is 5 years older than I am. And so he would always, I was always Luigi if I wanted to play video games with him. Which I love Luigi now. I just force myself to love him. But they sort of like, once I got old enough and my brother moved out, I got to play video games, and I realized that like I could do something on my own, I guess, because I was always the youngest, and I would just be like, I want to copy you.
Yeah.
But when I realized I could finally do it on my own, it was sort of video games that proved like, I don't know.
Yes.
But it's like video games are a huge influence on my life, and in more ways than one.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. I mean, that obviously like goes for me too. Like, you just like don't even know where to begin because it's so broad.
Yeah.
Right. But it's just, and it's all the stereotypical stuff too, where it's like, I was like a dirty kid. I couldn't make friends, and then like, I found friends through this thing. Like, and to this day, one of my favorite things that games do is they create like call it like a water cooler moment,
right?
Almost, where it's like if I'm playing Zelda or whatever, or if we're playing Destiny or whatever it is, and then I come to work the next day and I'm like, did you see this? Did you find this?
Right.
Did you like look in this one part and see this one thing? Have you gotten to this boss yet? How did you beat that boss? Like all those moments. Like it happened the other day when for God knows why we're playing Minecraft again.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
and
welcome to 2019, people.
I haven't played that game in like 10 years, and I go to Data's office. I start having to ask her all these questions because I'm like playing it for the first time again. And I'm like, oh my God, this is actually like really exciting, very nerdy, and I don't know why I'm doing it to myself, but I'm doing it. We're all doing it for some reason.
We were playing last night.
happening.
We were playing last night, and it was like there were 4 of us on, and it's like there was nobody. We were on Discord, on a call on Discord, and nobody was talking. And Simon was just like, "Well, I'm gonna go to bed. This was riveting." We were all just doing our own thing, just like.
I literally I mined like in a straight line for like an hour and a half. And I was
That's what video games do.
A great time, great experience. It's like time means nothing in that freaking game.
No, it's not called Timecraft. But no, you're right with like the water cooler, like because even Justin, like would walk up to me and be like, "Oh, I got 13 hearts in Breath of the Wild." Mm-hmm. So I got the sword, and I'm like, "Cool. What'd you do then?" He's like, "Just ran around." And he's like, "Okay," but he's like super excited about it. So it's like it brings, I think, people together because I remember raiding with you guys too, like just being so frustrated with like everything and just it was so
Simon,
like,
shoot me in the face if you can hear us.
So it's just like that camaraderie I think that we get with it.
What would you? This will be a question for everyone, but what is your what game are you most grateful for, or like is the most influential to you? Or has it impacted
Those are
you?
like 2 different questions. Most influential, most grateful are like different.
Well, pick one.
I honestly, so I was actually going to talk about video games as well because you guys both are talking about it.
Well, don't go into a whole spiel because we got to give our answers.
Well, it has to do with my answer. So I like video games. We never had like our own consoles until like my cousins pretty much like it was like hand-me-down consoles. So like we got our Super Nintendo from them when they got like the next thing. So I was always like a few years behind, which was fine because like we lived in Colorado and I spent a lot of time outside. So, but like we had PlayStation, we had a PlayStation 2. Like I just remember playing games that my cousins had because whenever we go to their house in California, it'd be like, oh man, this game is lit, and I just like they're so good at it and I'm so terrible. But like the fact that I got to play with them, it was kind of like what you were saying with your older brother, like I'll be Luigi, like it doesn't matter because I get to play with you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like we used to play this game called Twisted Metal 2, and man, that game was
that.
so
Tasty.
I'm
rad,
like
dude.
picturing the cover art for that right now.
We literally like we'd memorize all the cheat codes and just like do like minion, and you'd be this giant tank, and then you would do like god mode just so we could. It kind of baffles me now that I think about it, but we would literally like play it with like a different character just so we could run through the entire game with that character, just so we could see what the cutscene looked like at the very end when they like meet the devil or whoever it was. Mm-hmm. And so we would just put God mode on and then like play that character and play all the freaking levels until we could just see this like right now I'm thinking about the cutscenes like weren't even animated, we're just like pictures and then like people voices like voiceovers, and I was just like, oh, but it was so like rewarding, just to see that cutscene. Like, oh, I've never seen the cutscene for Thumper, so just
gotta
like
do it again.
Stupid.
right.
The
So-
quote unquote cutscene.
yeah, the cutscene. So, but anyways, I didn't, because me and Kia would play things together, and we would just split screen things until she was like in school and didn't really play video games anymore. Like, I'd play on, like, when I started playing online in high school, I never had like friends to play with, / didn't ever kind of cross that threshold of playing online with friends, and it wasn't a huge deal to me. So literally, like, this will kind of baffle you guys, literally until I got that PlayStation 4 from you guys, I didn't have friends online.
What? Really?
Yeah, like literally until we started playing Destiny 2 together, I had never like been in a chat with people on a video game and played
That's
like
insane
online.
to
Like
me.
I had played like Halo and stuff like online, like in
Yeah.
multiplayer or Call of Duty, but
But like it wasn't like with friends.
without friends. So like I hadn't played online like with people like in a game before. So like I'd never done like the chat, which is why I never had a headset until I got the
crazy.
PlayStation 4, because I was like,
Yeah,
well, I
there's
don't
no
I
point,
don't need a
yeah.
headset. I'll just play like with the audio because I'm not talking to anybody. And so I'll have to say, like, as far as that goes, and like as far as like camaraderie and stuff, I'd have to go Destiny 2, because I played Destiny 1, but I played it by myself, like I didn't play it with other people. Like Destiny 2, like I met and became better friends with you on, but like we played online like so much, like when it came out, and we raided, and we just like we'd all go home and like all get on, like it's just like
We're with each other all day, and then we'd go home and just be talking to each other, the same
Right.
people on a headset.
or like times where we would, like, me and Dana would get online and like we wouldn't even be doing anything. We would
Yeah.
just like explore like the holes in the game.
Yeah, we
like
did. We broke the game at one point.
yeah, like we like got outside of the world and we're like on top of something. We're like, where
Yeah.
are we? Like, don't show us on the map, stuff like that. So I'll probably have to do Destiny 2.
Yeah. That's a solid choice. I've put so many hours into D1 and D2.
I was, when he said like the camaraderie of D2, I was like, you know what though, like that's a very good point, because I had a couple in mind, but like D1 was very like, it was the same thing. It was the first time I was like playing online with friends. But I think one of the most influential games for me was probably World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one day, because I was a night elf, like going through, this was like back in 2006 or 5, and like running around, and like I just like grouped up with somebody that I didn't even know, and then we just became friends through WoW.
Yeah.
And then I logged off for like a week and came back on, and he was already like level 60, and I was like, oh no. But
What
it
have
was
I
like,
done?
yeah, but it's like I'm still to this day, like they're in my friends list on Blizzard, and it's like this really weird, like we don't talk ever, but it's like I always like look back and I'm like, oh yeah, you were that person who I was like running with way back when.
Yeah. Man, WoW was really special.
Yeah.
I don't care about it much anymore.
Oh no,
but
no, but it was very influential in my
Yeah.
life at the time.
I remember literally when that game was announced, because I used to play StarCraft and
Oh yeah.
Warcraft and all that sort of stuff like a ton. And then when they announced WoW, I remember like literally checking their website every single day until that game was released. From the time they announced it to the time that they released the game, I checked their website every day to see if like what new information about literally anything. Literally every day.
Well, because there wasn't like social media where you could like do like,
I know,
we're doing
there
like
was-
BlizzCon, there wasn't that kind of thing. So yeah, you had to like.
It was a much different world.
Blizzard.net.
It was a much different world when you had to play the whole game through to see all the cutscenes,
Exactly.
dude. It was a much different world.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. There's just so many games that I've spent so much time with,
Yeah.
But when I think what probably like had the most impact on me was I had saved. We had a PlayStation that I don't freaking remember how we even got it, but I had been saving when they announced the PS2. I had been saving like all my Christmas money, like all my birthday money, like all that sort of stuff for months and months and months. Like any allowance I got, anything like that, so I could buy my own PS2 when it came out, and I traded in like our PlayStation and like a whole bunch of other stuff when that was still a viable option. And I bought like with my own money my PlayStation 2, and I didn't have enough money to buy a PS2 game, so I bought Final Fantasy 9, which was technically, it was like released like a year before the PS2 came out, and I poured myself into that game, like hours and hours and hours. I remember like I bought the strategy guide and would like read it literally all the time. I would take it to school. I'd read it in the bathroom, like just any opportunity I had. And I looked at everything, got every secret. I had that, man, they had this freaking card game and they're called Teradek, or no, not Teradek. That's the HDMI SID. Man, I forget what it was called now. It was Terra something, but I freaking,
Teradek sounds good.
I crushed that game, and man, I don't even, I look back on it now. I was like, yes, that game is relatively good for like a JRPG as far as that goes. I think it's still like my favorite like Final Fantasy, but I mean, it's not like it's this masterpiece like work of art, but it's different when you're like, I've bought this and this is literally the only thing I have,
right?
And so I have to like it, and I have to know literally everything about it.
See, go ahead.
You saying like, man, and I bought the strategy guide, and I was like, oh man, I forgot those were even a thing, and I still see those, and I'm like, who buys these?
There's the internet, like, yeah. That's the thing. I was thinking about that because for every like Christmas when I was a kid, like we used to get, when there was like, we were a Nintendo family through and through. Like I'd never had a PlayStation. I had an Xbox, but we were Nintendo. So anytime a new console came out, we always got it for Christmas. It was like a big gift from Santa. Mm-hmm. So we like.
Who is actually real.
Who is real. Absolutely real.
He lives in Michigan.
And he blessed us with a Nintendo every year. But we would always, it was like, because usually Nintendo would release a new Zelda game with each console release. And so it was like a threefold. We would get the console, we would get the game, and the strategy guide. Because my dad would always want to play, and he would always have, like, my mom would sit there with a strategy guide, and my dad would try to figure it out. And if he'd get too stuck, he'd be like, no, I can't. And my mom would just be like, oh, what about, like, she would, like, hint at, like, oh, what, like, look at that thing over there. And he'd be like, oh, okay. And so it was
dynamic duo.
Yeah, so it was like
That's
my mom would, like, help
Dana.
him out. It was like my mom would help him out, but I remember like I still have like the strategy guys, and it's like falling apart. But I was the same way. Would take it to school and be like, okay, what am I going to do now? And it's like, you wouldn't do that?
No, I don't think I've literally ever owned a strategy guide for a game, because except for like PlayStation games where it'd be like the CD cover and then you have the little booklet that like slides out.
Man,
you know,
I miss
like
that so much.
yeah,
I do
because
too.
then you'd have it. It would just be like all the controls and stuff would be in there, and you'd like look through
Dude,
it.
sometimes those books were thick.
I know.
Yeah,
the one
oh,
for
yeah.
Final Fantasy 9 was awesome. It like had like a profile on every character, a profile
Right,
on the
it would be
world,
like the
and I would-
backstory.
Yep, that
Yeah.
was how
Freaking
Twisted Metal
choice.
2 was. Like you could look at all the characters and like get like a little bio and then like what their special was, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Now I know that I never want to be this character. Like freaking, what was his name? Grasshopper. Oh, I hated that character because all he did was jump.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it was
he's a
like,
grasshopper.
yeah, but it's a car game, so it's like,
Oh.
why would I want to do
I
that?
never played Twisted Metal. But I mean, but now it's like if we're playing Destiny and you're like, oh, how do I do that thing? And I always hear like click, 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 because you're like,
How do
you're
I do that
checking
thing? Pause,
YouTube.
controls. Oh, it's right here in the game.
Well, no, not the controls, but it's like if it's like, oh,
Hey
I have
guys,
to
welcome
get.
to my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
If you want to see me
Make
smash
sure you-
Crota, here we go.
Yeah.
But before
I
we do that,
remember,
just
like-
make sure you hit that like button.
Playing like San Andreas, like GTA, and like getting online, like old internet, and just like looking up cheat codes, and
Going
there'd
to
be like
Ask
those
Jeeves.
there would be those like pages that were like cheatcode.net
Yeah,
or whatever,
cheat code
and it would be
central.
like you would have to pick the right console because it was different, you
Yeah,
know?
but then
and
there would
you
be like that
scroll
Jews like
down.
ASCII thing in the way, and you have to scroll past like the big
You're
like
just
GTA in a
scroll,
weird
scroll,
font.
scroll, and then it's just like and you're just like, you don't want to look this page back up, but you don't have a cell phone to take a picture of it, so you're like writing down all the ones that you could possibly like want to use.
Dude, my
you
brother.
know you did it.
No, I know.
Like,
My brother, when we would play like Mega Man for like the NES, there used to be like the passwords and stuff. He had a notebook full of like, because the way that they did it was like a 8x8 grid or like some number grid, and it was like these ones have red dots in them, and so he would have a notebook full of like the passwords, so that if he died or the game like he could just put the password in and start back where he was.
Yeah.
But it was like a notebook full because it would be like, he'd get a password, he'd be like, hold on, and like run to his room and like get a pen and like
Yeah,
write
because
the
Lord,
password down.
like, Lord help you if you forget, like, lose that sheet of
Yeah.
paper. Then you got to
Yeah.
do the whole thing over
Exactly.
again.
And Mega Man's a hard dude.
Mega Man is very hard.
I got to look up these cheat codes again. I don't remember the sequence.
Yeah. I miss
But,
that,
yeah.
dude. Notebooks. I used to keep notebooks and would write notes about games and stuff like
Oh,
that
yeah.
too. But now there's just no need.
No, you just Google it and it's like, oh, okay, you got dual monitors. It's like, oh, my second monitor on my PC.
I'll just scroll over here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Man,
Video games.
Video game.
Nice.
Oh man, sorry, I totally forgot about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah.
Dude,
that game
powerful.
was so good.
Is it
Like,
powerful?
Yeah.
I wish that they would remake it or remaster that game so bad. Like that was the pinnacle of the like 3, 4, all those restaurants, like nothing compared
Yeah,
to 2.
garbage.
Because like
What was the
2,
first one?
one
fine.
was fine,
But they really like honed
but
the
dude,
craft
2
into
was
Stunts, yeah.
like amazing. Like the levels, they had that like cruise ship level, they had the airport level, and like you could put the cheat codes in and get those crazy characters.
And be
you could
Bam
be Darth
Margera.
Yeah, you could
Maul,
be
dude.
Darth Maul. He had like a hoverboard, yeah. And there was a Wolverine that you could be.
So crazy.
It was so awesome. It was like the best game. I like totally forgot about that until I was thinking about cheat codes.
God.
You could be the like Neversoft eyeball guy.
Yeah.
He was just like his head was like one big eyeball.
God.
He was
Did
terrible.
he have arms and legs?
Yeah. It was like a body.
That's
and then like his
creepy.
head was just like the big Neversoft eyeball.
nail through it.
With the nail through
That's
it.
like-
And then like there was that like demoness like character and all
Yeah.
her stats were like full.
You know what? I do have to give it to GoldenEye 007 on the 64 because you didn't have to put cheat codes on. You just went to the tab and
Yeah,
was
and it was
like,
like
"Ah, nah,
cheats."
nah, nah, nah,
Yeah.
nah." You just turned
Like,
them all on.
yes.
Yeah, and then the game was unplayable because everybody
I mean,
had a giant
it's
head.
Yeah.
already
Like, yeah, we know what
unplayable.
you want.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
like when you
they-
put it on gorilla mode, then you can actually shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Just like their head's ginormous.
Yeah,
You don't have
exactly.
to aim. Like what is this? What are these controls? Can someone give me golden gun so I don't have to use more than one bullet?
I love video games.
I do too, man. I
This is
just
like
want
a,
to turn this into a video game
I know
podcast.
this took a turn.
Went from like what influences you most? Toonami and video games. Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's
fair.
good for me. That's it. That's pretty much
all
all
I have.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, video games sort of stems off of like it was. I'm very grateful for video games because it's I don't know. It's a lot has happened because of them, like friendships that I've made or
Yes.
like being like there's always that science that's like, oh, your coordination is better. That's what scientists sound like, by the
Yep,
way.
that's what science sounds like.
according to my calculations,
Video games. That's scientists. Man.
coordination, hand-eye adjustment,
Did you say Nandi?
hand-eye,
Oh,
My Nandai
and
coordination.
hand-eye coordination,
Nandi coordination.
hand-eye.
I'm on.
coordinates. What?
A little birdie told me.
News. Yeah, I was actually already pulling it up, but
I know.
Oh.
I was wondering. You always look like you're chomping at the bit to
I
just
know.
start singing that stupid
You
song.
can always tell, like, when he picks his phone up and he gets, like, real focused. He's like,
yeah.
it's like, oh, yeah, he's getting in there.
oh yeah.
I have.
What's funny is I actually got in my car today to go get lunch, and that song was playing, and I was like,
It's a sign.
yes. It's probably that's in my top 3 classic rock songs.
Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, Welcome to the Jungle.
That's another tippy top. That's another episode.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know that like it's hard for me to pick like
Yeah,
top.
no, I asked-
that's
yeah.
in the top 3. There's probably a Queen song in there, but like that's
Probably.
like that's like a solid favorite
Wow.
like
I
classic rock
I tried to
song.
play Desert Island Records with this dude.
You
He
can't
was like, well, "Can I do like
100 like
I was
records.
like, "I'll give you 100." He's like, "Can't even do that, dude."
Can't even do that. There's too many
a
genres, man.
100 records.
Like Desert Island of rock, maybe. Like
I would just, like, I would either pick, well, no, we'll save that. I'm not doing that.
pick like ocean
Don't.
waves on an island.
Literally, I would probably just
just
pick
ocean ambience. I'd like to hear rainforest ambience on my desert island, just so I can imagine I'm somewhere
so
else
stupid.
alone.
I hate it.
Okay, so I stumbled upon this article today on CNN.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were just like on CNN.
Yeah, I looked up current events. That's
Okay.
usually what like whets the appetite of getting into the news. Because I usually go to BBC because that's usually where I get my news from. But I was like, I kind of know what's on BBC.
Let's change it up a little
yeah,
bit.
let's change it up. And so I just clicked on something, and then what I usually do is like scroll down from like the main news articles, and on the sidebar you get all those like
Oh, like the recommend.
yeah,
just,
you
like,
get you get
mix it
those
up
like
a couple times.
those articles that didn't make the front page.
Doctors
but-
can't believe what this grandma ate.
yeah,
Click to
exactly.
find
and you're
out.
like, yes, that's what I want.
Oh, good.
Because you're like, if I said, okay, guys, the topic is Brexit, like that's so
Ugh.
boring. Like nobody wants to hear about that. Like
Everyone gets that from literally everywhere
everything.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe you didn't hear this article. You know?
Oh, okay.
All right, keep it PG.
Oh
But
no.
can you guys guess what the newest forbidden images of the Chinese internet are?
Oh, I know this.
Oh, you do? Did you
Yeah.
already see the article?
Oh, because no, but I'm on Reddit.
Ah, okay. Well, no spoiling it for
I'm not
Simon.
gonna spoil
then.
it.
Let me see. Forbidden images.
Yeah, it's like the newest censored thing.
Is it from a certain type of media, like,
Visual media.
or is it like art, or is it like video games, or is it like?
It's not video games. It's like video or
Oh, I might be okay. I don't think I know then.
oh
Is it just like
Like,
all
when
the
you- okay,
butts
when you
on
say, like-
Instagram?
no
'Cause those
it's
are just
no it's like
can't even use that
rampant.
anymore.
it's a character. It's a character from a show, but now they're
Oh,
censoring
oh.
it because of something.
Oh,
I'm not gonna say, but they're like censoring. So
a-
like the show, I guess, is forbidden now too. But like people post images of this character on like Twitter and stuff, and they're also trying to like censor and ban those images from being.
oh,
like,
so it's from a
posted.
So it's from a show.
It's from a show. So you don't know what I'm talking about?
No, I
Oh,
was
okay.
I was going to a dark
is it like a
place.
Oh, no,
saucy
no.
character, like one that would be like, or is it just like one people are using as like a?
Like when
They're
when,
using it because of its likeness to someone else, and now he's being censored. But you're not gonna. It's a tough guess
Man, yeah, this is hard.
because
I don't
it's
know.
like it's a. Okay, I'm gonna narrow it down. It's a children's character from a children's show that's pretty popular.
Is
in
it
the
an American
States.
TV show?
Yeah, American. And someone on the internet was like, "Hey, this looks like this person," and now like the Chinese government's like, no, let's go ahead and censor that
Oh,
guy."
no. Who could it possibly be?
Gosh, dude, I don't even know. I honestly.
Children, so Barney. Is that still a show? Little Einsteins.
Barney's like ballpark era.
Really?
Little
So, like,
Einstein's
the
is a little too
90s?
recent. Yeah, like
Oh,
I
was it the
watched
90s?
this when I was little.
Oh, then we know that it's fine. Arthur?
No,
Oh,
but
dang
still,
it.
you're still in ballpark. Yeah, I would go younger.
Berenstein Bears.
Around
Franklin?
that, it is a book as
Clifford?
well. So
Clifford?
no,
Curious George.
no.
Oh, yeah, I was like, he didn't say no. The man with the yellow hat. Berenstein Bears, Clifford.
That's all I got. I think.
Little Bear, Franklin.
No, but he is
Oh.
a bear.
Winnie
Who's
the
a-
Pooh.
Yes.
What?
Winnie the
What?
Pooh.
Who does Winnie the Pooh look like?
Apparently, someone
got no pants
posted.
on.
Okay, so see, that's
He got
actually
his
not.
bear wiener
That's
hanging out.
actually not why they
He's in the
censored
honey
him.
spot.
But
Ew.
people have
Ew.
been posting pictures. The first one was in 2013, but of side by sides with Pooh and the president of
Winnie the Pooh.
China,
Oh, God, no.
which is I think his name is what is it? Xi Jinping.
Okay.
It's like XI space
Oh.
JINPING. So Xi Jinping, I think, something like that.
Yeah, okay, fair.
These are their pictures.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so there's like it doesn't
no
really
Does
look
it
like
really?
him.
There's
dude.
no. Okay,
But
what? No, but
There's
what?
another picture. The first meme was with the Chinese president and Obama. see, it's like Tigger and Pooh Bear, and it's
Okay.
like
Just like that is literally just like the
But
trolliest.
the fact that like the
thing.
Chinese government was like, "Oh no, they're onto
then-
us," and like started censoring it, like that's weird.
Oh my gosh.
That's very strange. Who's Eeyore?
I don't know, some other like Chinese diplomat. And so they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and this one's really funny." It's just like,
What
yeah.
if you had
This is Pooh Bear in a car.
the
Yeah.
power of an entire government to keep people from making fun of you.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I mean, that's what. No, I won't get into it. But that's crazy to me.
I mean,
that China
it's
has
a
that power
communist government.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, like that. I guess it's hard. That's why it's hard for me to wrap my head around it. But it's like because I know there's one guy on either Twitter or Reddit who keeps photoshopping Donald Trump pictures with his tie really, really long.
Got him.
Unreasonably long. And it's
Nice.
just like the weirdest thing. But I can only imagine if the U.S. was like, no, his tie is not that long. Now we have to censor these photos.
Just blur out the lower
Yeah,
part
you
of the tie.
just the tie sounds really weird.
How do you even?
Then people would be
censor
like,
that?
"What is even
That's
that
the thing.
photo?"
It would cause more questions. But that's what I see. No, yeah, that's weird to me.
How do you censor Winnie the Pooh? How do
See,
you?
that's what I'm thinking. They would just take down posts that have
Yeah.
any sort of comparison of Winnie the Pooh to the Chinese president. They would just completely ban that person from
give
those.
so much power to Winnie the Pooh, though.
That's my thing.
Because literally, anytime you see a Winnie the Pooh anywhere, you can be like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my
there's
gosh, the
that.
Chinese government.
Oh my gosh, it's the Chinese president.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Now
he
that's
doesn't
what I'm
have
thinking
any
about
pants
now.
on.
So this bear wiener in the honey pot, as Simon said.
He's got his head stuck in there.
Oh,
Get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
No. Stop.
Gross.
Gross.
He did say keep it PG.
Yeah. I think we can keep it PG-13-ish. I mean,
Well, I meant when I was first
Oh, yeah,
yes.
fair.
forbidden
I think-
images from the Chinese. You guys who you think PG-13, you're not going to think Winnie the Pooh. You're going to
true.
be thinking
I think poo. No.
Nice.
Pooh
That's
the
weird,
Winnie.
though. I mean, that's do you think that they showed the president, they brought it to him, and they're like, "Sir, someone says that you look like Winnie the Pooh," and he was like, "This is insane," and got
This
really
is an
mad.
outrage.
Censor all the Pooh bears and
Get
just
the Poohs out of my sight.
you know what I mean? That's
Oh, man.
like you say, that's giving so much power to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, because you're just you're turning it into you're just here's all this meme power, Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
And
Literally
Pooh's just
anytime.
sitting there ha, 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 ha. My plan is working. World domination. I'm on my way. Little did we know, Pooh is just
The
trying to
most
meddle his way
evil.
into all the
Yeah.
governments of the world.
He's the most evil of all.
It's way different than the U.S., where we literally have people making giant inflatable Donald Trumps as
No, that's in the
rats
UK.
and babies and stuff like that.
The Trump baby's in the UK.
Oh, is he in the UK?
But if you write to him and you're like, "Hey, Donald Trump is having a rally in my town," he will mail you the balloon so that you can fly it.
Yeah, very different than
Very different
China.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very different.
'Cause you-
Yeah, can you imagine?
I mean, but here's the thing,
Those people would die.
Oh,
that's the sad
they'd be arrested.
truth.
I mean,
immediately.
it's sad, but
I mean,
yeah.
right now, you think about where currently what's going on there.
Right. Well, in Hong Kong, yeah.
It's really sad,
Well,
but no bummers.
because my friend went there to teach English after she graduated college for a couple years, and she was like, "It's weird because you'd think oh, communist and scary," and she's like, "It's actually super safe there, because
I bet, yeah.
Well, because it's
no one's gonna
controlled,
break the
yeah.
law because."
safe in that way.
Yeah, so she was like, I never felt scared walking to my car at night alone because crime, you don't want to commit crimes, which is okay, I'm actually scared of what the government would do to me if I was caught doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing.
That's just that's such a foreign okay,
Concept, yeah.
yeah, I know, a foreign concept to me, because I don't understand it.
I am. Even in the midst of everything, all the fighting, all the infighting, I'm still very grateful.
Yeah, we'll just bring it full circle. Grateful
to be living in America.
Oh yeah,
I will say though, I just found this out recently. I have dual citizenship.
you do because you are.
'Cause my father-
don't you have dual citizenship? You don't?
I don't know.
I think
Oh.
it depends on how the country's.
It depends on the country.
Yeah.
Not every country
Okay.
is like that.
But the way it works with England, if your father is born in London, then it just immediately passes to his children.
Yeah.
But my children will not be citizens.
Dual citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they're born there.
Yes,
That's what I would because I lived in
You
the
could
UK.
do that
I could.
and then bring then bring them here.
Seems like a
Both
hassle.
of them.
But then what
all
they-
the kids you're gonna have
but
at the
then-
same time.
They would.
If I was gonna do that anywhere, I'd probably do it in Canada for the healthcare.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, fair.
Good, good.
But then wouldn't like
Is that the sad like reality? Like we're like Mexicans are like trying to get over here so their babies can be born here, but then like we're trying to get our babies
Canada.
like born in
Canada-
Canada so we can get that sweet healthcare.
I love Canada. I
Yeah,
do.
who doesn't?
I've been in Canada for like 4 hours.
Oh no, we used to go all the time because it was like 15-minute drive.
Man, that's nuts.
That's nuts. But it was like I went recently, like a couple of years ago, and it was like we were in the olden times because we didn't have any Canadian money and our phones didn't work, and so we were just like we felt like time travelers because we were like our money's no good here and their phones don't work, so like we must be in the past.
What year is it?
Yeah, so we had to stop at a McDonald's, which was like right off the border, and like get stuff working. But I love Canada. They have Kinder eggs there and Dunkaroos, like legit Kinder eggs.
Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos were good, dude. I think I bought a ton of those to smuggle back over.
Dunkaroos.
They're
Guys,
illegal.
We did it.
We did another
We
one.
did it.
We did it again.
We've
Happy
done it. We've done it
Gratitude's
again.
Giving Day.
Yep. You know, I'm very grateful for you guys as well.
I'm grateful for you guys.
I'm very
I'm
grateful
so grateful.
for our Chick-fil-A video. That
Our Chick-fil-A
if you
video.
haven't seen, you should go watch because Amon got
Amon suffered.
Amon
I
punished
made
his
it.
body.
I punished my body for your views and
Yep.
your love.
Yep.
So go hit that bell, like that smash button,
Like
and
that.
ring
Like
the
that.
like,
Like that smash button.
and ring the subscribe.
Yep.
Ring the subscribe so you get notifications when we smash the like button.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
He literally
sounds
called
alright.
into work the next day because he was throwing up so much.
he did.
It was too much.
It was
wasn't
just the
for me.
quantity.
Too much of a good thing.
I would just like
is a
to
bad
let y'all
thing.
know.
You ate.
I polished off the leavings plate.
Hey,
I can't believe that.
I
be
will
all
like to let everyone know that Simon, as you will see in the videos, is a big swole boy. So
that's nothing.
like Saturday is already Simon's cheat day. So you were already prepared to just pound down whatever we were gonna eat.
Yeah.
And if we weren't there, you're probably just gonna do it anyways.
Yeah.
So
I generally eat around like if I go to Chick-fil-A on a cheat day, it'll be like 3 chicken sandwiches, large waffle fry, and a milkshake.
Oh god, that
yeah.
makes my
See,
stomach
that's
hurt
what I'm
just
saying. Like
hearing that,
he was
dude.
already prepared. His body was ready. My body
Yeah.
was not ready. I don't
You've
eat
never
breakfast.
had Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but
First of all, I don't eat breakfast like almost any day, and then I had like 6 halves of sandwiches for breakfast, followed by like a 3-hour later lunch and
Yeah.
then dinner combo.
yeah, it was awesome. So delicious.
Go watch the video and
Go
eat Chick-fil-A.
Go watch eat
Not a sponsor.
Chick-fil-A
Not a
smash
sponsor.
button.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.